I'm Jen, and this is Borrow My Kitchen. Hi, I'm Jen. I'm Brad's sister. I am also a local artist in Thornton, Colorado. I do wire wrap jewelry, I make Dreamcatchers, I do paintings, and that is honestly my favorite thing in the whole world is to do art. So I am gonna list my page in the description below, so check that out. My husband Dakota's one of his favorite foods is chicken parm, and I never knew how to make it before, and so he had me look it up and give it a try, and one of our favorite recipes in our household, so stay tuned and it'll turn out really good. So let's get into the ingredients. Flour, olive oil, Italian seasoning, tomato sauce, grated Parmesan cheese, Panko breadcrumbs, black pepper, salt, eggs, chicken. I've already had this trimmed and butterflied by my local butcher. Fresh mozzarella, sliced provolone. Okay, first I'm gonna glove up because I don't like handling raw meat. So if you don't care, skip this step, that's totally fine. Not required for chicken parm. Then take our lovely chicken breasts, open them up. Maybe should have opened them before I put gloves on. We're gonna go ahead and put them on this pan here. And like I said, these have been butterflied, kind of, and trimmed, so there's very little fat on them. They're quite large. The recipe calls for 4, but you can use however many suits your needs. Typically, when I make this at home, I'll get two chicken breasts, and then we'll cut them all the way through so they're half chicken breasts, and then we'll have leftovers for the next day as well. Now we're going to put some flour in our sifter, which is off camera, and then sift the flour over the chicken, flip the chicken, do the other side, and then we'll get it in some eggs and some panko, Parmesan cheese, and fry it up. We're not there yet. I'm going to go ahead and sift my flour. We're just gonna do a little sift on each. Oops, I'm sorry, got it on the counter on each side of the chicken. That's a lot of sifting. Beautiful. Should have just shaken it to start with, and then I'm gonna take my tongs because I don't like touching chicken, as we discussed, and just do a quick flip over. Okay. And as I've learned, I'm just gonna shake. Seems to work well. Not too much. Perfect. Okay. Now that they're mostly coated in flour, I'm gonna break open a couple eggs, mix the panko and the Parmesan, and then we'll do some dipping. And then the chicken breasts sit for 15 minutes before we start to fry them. Okay. So next steps, break the eggs, which I'm skipping for a second for some reason. Mix some panko, some Parmesan. I'm gonna dump the panko in this pan here. It's easier to use a deep flat thing so you can get the chicken as flat as you can. And so you can press all the surface of the chicken into the panko. And then also we mix in our parm. I rarely measure with cheese in particular because cheese is one of my favorite foods. Lots of people make fun of me for it. So Brad will go through and put in all the actual proper measurements for the recipe. I just kind of make it up till it looks good. Sure. Now let's crack our eggs here. On the top, that's great. Very effective. Just gonna mix up my panko and Parmesan. Break up those Parmesan chunks. and get it nice and incorporated. Then let's mix up our eggs. Okay, I'm gonna use my tongs to dip the chicken in the egg. Get it all nice and eggy here. And then the chicken. People who are normal can pick up the chicken with their hands. That's fine, totally acceptable. And then we transfer to Parmesan Panko. Swish it around in there. Make sure the whole backside gets coated. And we're gonna flip it. Do the same thing. Make sure the whole top side is coated. And then we're going to carefully, without making a mess, put it back on our baking sheet to rest for 15 minutes. We're going to do that, rinse and repeat for each chicken breast. So now we're going to let this sit and rest for 15 minutes, and that's when I take the opportunity to clean up my space. Okay, the chicken's ready to go. First thing we're going to do is turn on the oven to 450 degrees, so once the chicken's done frying, we can get in the pan, get all its toppings, and be ready to go. Start the oven. Preheating to 450. And then we've just got a little pan. This is how we're going to fry our chicken. So I'm going to turn on the stove. That's the wrong one. Off. Okay. We are going to put in some of our olive oil here, just enough to make sure we can fry the chickens. I don't remember what the recipe calls for, but Brad will insert the amount. So basically, I do enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Coat the bottom of the pan, and then a little extra because I don't like to add more as it's cooking. Because to be honest, I'm scared of hot oil. I'm scared of most things in the kitchen. So, just do a little extra, put it back on the heat. And then once the oil starts shimmering, we can put our chicken in. It fries for 2 minutes on each side. And then it goes in the other pan, which is over there. We'll get back to that. Okay, so it looks like our oil is hot enough to throw our chicken in. I'm going to take our first one and gently and carefully put it in there. Not very sizzly, so maybe not quite hot enough yet, but it will cook regardless. Okay, it's been 2 minutes. Let's check again. Excuse me. Just 1 more minute. I think I started it too low. All right, let's give it another peek here. Come here, chicken. That's pretty golden-y brown. A little bit. We'll go with that. Let's do the other side. We'll say 3 minutes just because it's been a little longer than usual. I can't pick it up. Okay. Come here, chicken. Okay, so I'm just gonna rip this apparently as I'm putting it in the pan. So the pan here, I've got on a couple hot pads just so it doesn't, break the counter. Okay. First one's done. Well, not done, but in another pan. So let's get our next hunk of chicken and get it going sauce splattering hot oil. So, 2 minutes. Go back up to 4. I don't know. 2 minutes on this side. Okay, so our last chicken breast is frying over there. So we're gonna prep these other two while that one's still frying, so that when it's done, we just throw it in here, top it with its toppings, and then be ready to put them in the oven. So I'm just gonna throw on a little tiny bit. That was more than a tiny bit. Like salt and pepper. I already salted, but that's fine. Sprinkle. Alright, and then we're going to top with our red sauce, tomato sauce. I like the tomato basil, or there's like a 4 cheese one, I think, that are quite tasty. Those are my favorites. So we just put a little touchdown sauce on here. Just put a little tomato sauce on here. Don't quote me, but I think it says 1/3 cup. Do a little smearing here. Make sure the whole thing gets a little on it everywhere. So once we've got the red sauce on, we're going to put on at least one of our hunks of cheese here. Depending on how big the breast is, usually I will cut 1 or 2 in half that way and add a little extra. So like this guy, maybe scoot on over, cut this piece in half, put a little extra there. It's a lot of cheese, guys. It's a lot of cheese. All right, and then we take our provolone, and again, I kind of just put as much as I think needs to cover the chicken, so like maybe 2 per. And lastly, we're going to sprinkle a little Parm on top. The recipe calls for fresh basil. I like Italian seasoning. If you prefer, that was so much. If you prefer a fresher taste, you maybe could use the other fresh basil, but I think the Italian seasoning with the mix of herbs is perfect. Okay, now that our chicken is all topped, and our oven is preheated, we're going to take the chicken, throw it in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes at that 450. One of these breasts is quite thick, so it might take a little longer than that, but we will check it as we go. All right, chicken's all done cooking. Let's put it on a plate and give it a taste. All right, so typically we would have this on top of egg noodles. You can put it on whatever kind of noodles you want. We like it with egg noodles, and also sometimes we'll throw a little extra sauce on there just so it's a little saucier, just because this is primarily cheese and not so saucy, but let's give it a try. Still kind of hot. Yum, so good. I give it 2 thumbs up, but give it a try at home. Let me know what you think in the comments. This has been Borrow My Kitchen. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell because sometimes subscribing doesn't matter. And we'll see you next time. Thanks!